Okay, so we're quite a long way out here. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you for sort of 14 minutes. I'll put myself to sleep if I was talking for that long. But it's just really to sort of illustrate, especially for anyone who's new to trading, is we're quite a way out here. There's probably not a lot of money floating around this time on a Friday afternoon, maybe. I don't know. But we've only got 4 runners here, so it's quite. I guess it's quite easy to. These kind of races are quite easy to sort of work out to a degree. So what's going on here? We've got a short price favourite. Now it's been as low as and traded for a decent chunk of change at sort of 1.8, and it's generally sort of sat in this range here from 189 down to 184, 182. So not a massive trading range, but fairly decent. Now what you should be asking yourself if you're coming into any market like this is what's going to stop this favourite coming in. So it's having a little bit of a drift out at the minute, but what's going to stop this favourite coming in? So naturally you should be sort of looking first and foremost to the second favourite. So let's look at it. Drifted for pennies, really, a few quid, up and over the 4. It's been comfortable sort of trading at the 4.2, 4.3 mark for most of its traded sort of amounts, and it just touched on the 4 a minute ago. Is it going to come through this? Possibly. A lot of people get fixated on the resistance points. Now they are important, but they're probably not important when the main resistance that's been traded is 780 quid. I mean, you half that, and that's your real sort of either back or lay money. So it's pushing down now. Is this going to go through the 4? Don't know. If it settles here for another sort of 5-6 minutes and starts building up a bit of a buffer here, then I'd argue that it's probably harder to get through. This, it's been drifting all day. It looks weak as piss. This one doesn't look much better, albeit it's came in for a bit of money in the last few minutes. This is now broke through the 4. That's going to have an impact on this favourite. Are these going to have an impact on it? Probably not. If this starts to push down towards a 6, then yes. And if this one's still pushing, then definitely that's gonna force a favourite out. But at the minute, I would probably say this one and this one are counteracting each other. This one may be starting to come into play. It's definitely not having an effect on that, but it may have had an influence on the favourite drifting out a little bit there. This one is probably the odd one out, but I'd say it's more correlated to the third ladder, really. It's worth sort of noting, and when you're assessing what might happen, you're really looking for confirming factors. So for this favourite to carry on drifting, I would ideally like to see this break through the 4, this potentially come down to the 6, if not this to really break through the 10 and start coming back down. So it's been as low as sort of 5.5, 6, so it's doubled in price. But yeah, this one's going to be the main driver, and otherwise, if this doesn't conclusively break through this crossover here and start pushing down, and you can't get another one really to be backing it up, although this favourite's drifting out at the minute, I think there's still a good chance that this favourite's just going to carry on coming in. And there's a decent chunk of change there now at the 4.0, so that's starting to become a resistance point. when you're looking at the traded money in that range. But I mean, just look how much has been traded: 130 grand, 90 grand of that, nearly 92 grand now is on the favourite. So these others have got some going really to start influencing this. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out, and I'll come back a bit nearer to post time, and we can see what's transpired then. Okay, so back at the 4 minute mark now. What's changed? Not a lot. This is pushing on the crossover at 10. Could quite easily come through. There's nothing to stop that coming. The favourites just had a bit of a flurry of money there, and liquidity is starting to get a little bit better. But the favourites just bouncing up and down. So I'd say this is a bit more of a solid range now. Just here. So you know, if it conclusively breaks through either of these, then that could be the direction that it's going to go in. If it was to drift, you'd probably want to be seeing this one coming in, unless it's genuine lay money for the favourite. But even so, that should be really pushing these two certainly on a downward trajectory. So my viewpoint at the minute is that this favourite is strong, but that can still change. So we're only 3 minutes out now. I've got my stakes set up. A little bit higher stakes if I'm going to be trading on this favourite, just because of its, you know, the tick deficit, if you like, is tick reward is a bit smaller. So now this is still pushing around the 10. This is coming down again. So if this breaks through the 6, that's interesting. And you can see this one's drifting out here. I don't necessarily want to get on the lay side of this at this sort of price, because if it does burst back down, then I'm left with my cock in my hand. So 2 minute mark's approaching. This has got to get through that 6. There's nothing really there to stop it. But this favourite looks quite strong to me. And this has broke through the crossover. What's it doing to this? And now we go. So is this favourite going to go? That's broke through. That's still at the crossover. That's not going. Now my viewpoint is this favourite's quite strong. And we can sort of see that here. I'm just going to take a little bit out. It's very, very fucking jumpy, so I'm going to take half my stake out there. I'm happy to let that get matched down there if it goes back down, but you can see that I only start losing money if it bounces right up here. Now this has still got a crossover. This is fucked off to the moon. This is pushing, but I'll just take another little bit out there. That big stake in there. So we've got 26 quid left in the market. What are these doing? This is pushing back down again. Do we want to leave that where it is, or do we want to exit? We don't want to chase it up too much, but it's bouncing up a little bit. You just got to understand, is it going to break through this point, or do we need to? And I'll just take the £2.50 there. So, and it is just because it looks like it's sort of plateauing, if you like. Is it going to go through this? Probably not. This is sort of coming back in, but the market's flattening out a little bit. But we would have got it matched in the end there. It's a bit of a late flurry of money. I think they've got it right that the favourite was strong, but yeah, I probably could have been a little bit calmer really in my exit strategy there. But it was really jumpy, so it's sometimes better to be safe than sorry as well. But an easy couple of quid. It's not massive shakes. I mean, probably could have had 3 or 4 quid there in reality. But again, an easy enough trade as well. And I think it was overall a fairly decent assessment of what was going on. It is easier, obviously, when there's less runners to keep an eye on, but yeah, these markets can be quite profitable if you just take your time to understand it and yeah, make sure you're in and out, I guess. In a fairly quick sort of turnaround. That was really jumpy there. So I could have exited better, as I say, but I'm okay with that. I'm happy